The challenge is that selling a home involves far more than putting a sign in the yard and adding it to Zillow. Today, I want to walk you through what most for sale by owners do well, where things usually break down, and the parts of the process that tend to surprise people the most. This is not a sales pitch. It's meant to help you understand what it really takes to get strong exposure and strong results. Here's the truth. Selling your home by owner is not a bad idea. It's not reckless, and it does not mean you're doing something wrong. Most for sale by owners I meet are smart, motivated, and trying to make the best financial decision they can. The challenge is not effort. The challenge is that selling a home involves far more than putting a sign in the yard and adding it to Zillow. Today, I want to walk you through what most for sale by owners do well, where things usually break down, and the parts of the process that tend to surprise people the most. This is not a sales pitch. It's meant to help you understand what it really takes to get strong exposure and strong results. Let's start with what most every FSBO seller does first. They put a sign in the yard, they add the home to Zillow, they clean the house, maybe they take a few photos on their phone, and then they wait. And sometimes that works, especially if you already have a buyer lined up or the price happens to land exactly where the buyers are writing offers. But most of the time, the response is quieter than expected. Not because the home is bad, but because exposure is more limited than people realize. Zillow is not the entire market. It is one doorway into the market. The majority of serious buyers are working with agents, and those agents are watching the MLS daily. If your home is not positioned correctly in front of that audience, you're invisible to a large pool of qualified buyers. The next challenge is pricing. This is the biggest issue I see with FSBO listings. Most pricing decisions are based on online estimates, what a neighbor listed for, or what feels fair. Very rarely are they based on current buyer behavior. Pricing is not about what you want to get. It's about where buyers are actually writing offers right now. Buyers search in ranges, not exact numbers. So if you miss the right range by even a small amount, do not get fewer showings. You get no showings. Silence does not mean buyers are thinking about it. Silence usually means buyers never saw it. Here's something most FSBO sellers do not realize. The first 7 to 10 days on the market are the most important days your home will ever have. That is when every serious buyer sees it. If the price misses during that window, you do not get a true second chance. You get a slow fade. And then there is presentation. Buyers decide emotionally first and justify logically later. That means photos, lighting, layout, and how the home feels matters far more than most people expect. A well-priced home with poor presentation will still struggle. Buyers do not complain, they just move on. If this is helpful so far and you want more no-fluff tips on selling smarter in Richmond, hit subscribe right now. I post new videos every week designed to save sellers time, money, and stress. I've previewed many FSBO homes that were solid houses but felt cluttered, dark, or unfinished. Small changes would have made a big difference, but no one ever showed the seller what buyers actually notice. Next comes showings. Showing your own home sounds simple until you're answering calls at work, coordinating schedules, and trying to stay neutral while someone critiques your kitchen. Buyers also behave differently when owners are present. They're more guarded. They don't linger. They don't ask honest questions. And they often leave without saying much at all. Then there's negotiation. Buyers negotiate all the time. Sellers usually don't. When an inspection report comes back or an appraisal raises question, it feels personal. Now, without a buffer, conversations can turn emotional quickly. Most FSBO sellers either give way too much because they want the deal to work, or they hold firm in the wrong places and lose the deal entirely. Neither outcome is ideal. There's also paperwork and timing. Disclosures must be handled correctly. Deadlines matter. Documents must be delivered properly and on time. One missed form or late delivery can give buyers rights you did not expect. It's not about dishonesty. It's about understanding the rules of the process. Now, here's a reality check I share often. Most FSBO sellers who eventually hire an agent do not do so because they failed. They do it because they realize there's more to manage than they expected. I hear the same things repeatedly. I did not realize how complicated pricing would be. I didn't expect the emotional side of negotiations. I didn't realize how much exposure mattered. I did not know how many moving parts there were behind the scenes. And this is the most important point. Selling by owner is not about whether you can sell. It's about whether you can sell for the best possible outcome with the least amount of stress and risk. Sometimes FSBO is the right path. Sometimes it's not. The mistake is assuming the only difference is saving money. The real difference is strategy, leverage, and protection. This is exactly why I created a For Sale by Owner toolkit. It's designed to show you the work behind the scenes and give you practical guide on pricing, exposure, presentation, paperwork, and next steps. Even if you ultimately sell on your own, understanding the full picture helps you make better decisions. Now, if you're selling by owner and would like access to that toolkit, reach out and I'll make sure you get it. There's no pressure and no obligation. It is simply a resource to help you understand what is involved and where most FSBO listings struggle. Now, if you choose to sell by owner, my advice is simple. Do more than put up a sign. Get real pricing data, understand how buyers search, invest in presentation, have a plan for showings, know how inspections and negotiations typically unfold, and make sure your paperwork is handled correctly. If any of that feels overwhelming, it's not a failure. This is information. I respect For Sale by Owners. I work with many who sell successfully on their own, and I work with many who decide later that having help makes sense. My goal is not to pressure anyone. My goal is to make sure you are not leaving money, leverage, or protection on the table because no one showed you what goes into a strong sale. If you're selling by owner and want a second set of eyes on pricing, exposure, or strategy, or if you'd like access to the FSBO toolkit, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help you think it through so you can decide what is best for you. And in the comments, tell me, what made you consider selling by owner in the first place? Control, flexibility, cost, or something else entirely? I'm Don Reed. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.